A normal financial advisor like Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman, they wouldn't even understand 70% of the questions because they don't know this. They're not taught this. You may become one of those sad stories that I hear all the time. Mr. Andrew, our IUL policy, we put in $500,000, and you say that in the last 7.5 years it would have doubled to $1 million. Our $500,000 is only worth $750,000, half that. What's wrong? And I take about 30 seconds to look at it and I go, oh my heavens, who designed this for you? What is a certified IUL professional? So far, only about 10% can pass a proficiency exam. But if you would like to be pointed to or introduced to a certified IUL professional, I want you to reach out at the end of this episode so that we can hook you up with somebody who knows how to do it correctly. But I'm going to share with you what we do in order to train them, and also how difficult this exam is, so that when you meet with a certified IUL professional, you'll know they do have to understand this backwards and forwards. So I'm Doug Andrew. I've been a financial strategist and retirement planning specialist now for 5 decades, helping my own clients optimize assets, minimize taxes, and empower their authentic wealth. I've helped thousands of Americans prepare for a comfortable retirement, to make themselves immune from taxes, inflation, and market volatility, so they will not outlive their money, so that they can earn an average rate of return between 7 to 10% or higher by utilizing properly structured maximum funded IUL, and so that every $1 million that they accumulate can generate a 10% payout, $100,000 a year of tax-free income if they retired at age 65 without depleting principal if they live to be 120. Now, there's a lot of agents or financial professionals go, no way. I've never seen an insurance policy do that, which is sort of ridiculous to me because they haven't seen it. They think it doesn't exist, which is as shallow of reasoning as, have you ever seen your brain? How do you know that exists? Okay. If it is structured correctly and funded properly, it is actually the dream solution for many financial goals. It knocks the socks off of IRAs and 401ks, especially invested in the market. It also outperforms annuities. It outperforms money invested in the market, or even money in whole life. There's a lot of whole life agents that are, in my opinion, sort of brainwashed by their supervisors. And then I ask them, okay, show me a whole life policy that can generate a 10% payout from age 65 to age 120 without crashing and burning, depleting the policy. I've yet to have a whole life agent be able to do that. And so 3 years ago, I decided to resurrect or bring out of my vault the basic training that I did for 4 years from 2003 to 2007. I actually put my own personal practice on the back burner in 2003 when my second book, Missed Fortune 101, became a national bestseller. And for those 4 years, 48 months, I trained over 3,000 CPAs, tax attorneys, financial advisors on the proper structure of IUL, to be able to use that as a dream solution for retirement, for college funding for kids, working capital for business, real estate management, on and on and on. Now, what happened is some of those agents, they paid $6,000 in tuition to come through my training. And then they went out and we had 2008 happen. Now, I would ask some of these agents, how come you didn't stick with it and keep your clients safe from that market downturn? They said, well, Doug, we didn't think that the market would drop 40% in one single year. We know it dropped 40% over a 3-year period, 2001 to 2003. We never dreamed it would happen in one single year. We didn't think, we thought what our clients didn't know wouldn't hurt them. We were wrong, I guess, and it did. I go, oh my heavens. And then I discovered if they didn't use it, they would lose it. I created a proficiency exam back then, comprised of 100 question, multiple choice, true and false, and another 30 essay questions. And only about 10% of those 3,000 agents could pass that proficiency exam. Whoa. They needed to come through and learn better or get revisited. But if you don't use it, you lose it. And that frustrated me. So after 2008, I decided, you know what? I'm just going to, with a small nucleus of agents, service our own clients. And I got down to a dozen agents that knew how to do it absolutely correctly. And we operated extremely successfully from 2008 until 2018 and 19. And then I said, okay, now it's time again for me to sell the recipe instead of selling the cake. And I took my training out of the archive and the vault where I sort of locked it up, and I tweaked it to update it. And I started an organization called IUL Insiders. And this is where I invite agents who are licensed to sell IUL to their clients to come and join us. Now, there's only a small handful that really want to learn how to do this correctly and professionally, who will put some skin in the game and invest a much smaller amount than they would getting a college degree or anything like that. But I designed this organization about 3 years ago from the recording of this episode. And we have over 1,000 agents that have come through and joined IUL Insiders. Some, again, will not invest the time, energy, and resources to do it correctly. They go out and they still don't know how to structure it correctly. And I just go, come on. But those who stay with us and do, there's about 1,000 that have made this their primary profession, and they want to make sure that they do it correctly for their clients. Those are my kinds of people. And so out of 5,000 IUL agents that I have been involved with, still only about 10% have been able to pass a proficiency exam. It's not an easy exam. So we updated this exam, and it includes 12 extremely difficult case studies that they have to pass, and also a lot of very intricate questions that, to be honest with you, a normal financial advisor like Dave Ramsey or Susie Orman, they wouldn't even understand 70% of the questions because they don't know this. They're not taught this. No wonder they criticize something that they don't understand because they've never been taught how it's done correctly. Okay? So I don't fault them in some ways, except that they poo-poo something they simply don't understand. Well, this proficiency exam is designed to certify IUL agents. And so we have those that are going through this very in-depth training to become a certified IUL professional. Now, if I were a member of the general public, I would want to be hooked up with one of these certified IUL professionals to make absolutely sure that the IUL policy that I was setting up was done correctly and funded properly. Why? I'll just cut to the chase. There are many, many IUL agents that ignorantly, they just don't know what they don't know, that go out and they ask you how much you can sock away on a monthly basis, let's say, $500 a month, $1,000 a month. And then they actually outsource the illustration to somebody in their company who then determines the death benefit to accommodate $500 a month or $1,000 a month in savings, but they don't know what they're doing. They don't realize how to structure it correctly. It's amazing how many of those people that prepare illustrations do not know what they're doing. So what does this mean at the end of the day? It means this, that if it's done correctly, then by rebalancing and diversifying with annual reviews, you move your chances from getting an average rate of return from maybe 7% up to 11%. That's huge. But if you don't, then you might be lucky to get 7% average rate of return on an IUL policy. But here's the other big difference. Your net internal rate of return, what's that? You can't believe how many agents don't even know what that means. Internal rate of return means cash on cash rate of return, as if the insurance was free. Because a lot of people came to me not particularly wanting or needing life insurance death benefit. They wanted the best financial instrument to accumulate money that would outperform IRAs or 401ks invested in the market. That's where I could earn 11 and net 10. Because mutual funds and IRAs or 401ks, you have to earn 15 or 16% to net 10 after taxes and fees at the end of the day. If it's not structured correctly, with the amount of death benefits squeezed down under the TEFRA, DEFRA, and TAMRA tax citations, which we teach, if you were lucky enough to earn 7, you might only net 3. In other words, 4 percentage points are gobbled up in the cost of the insurance because they didn't structure it correctly. Is that why you took one out to net a 3% rate of return? You might as well have followed the herd and put your money in an IRA or 401k almost. You would still probably barely outperform those at the end of the day. But folks, you want to move from, let's say, 7% up to 11% or even 14% by diversifying and rebalancing. We teach that. But if you're going to earn 11, you want to net over 10 cash on cash. I have averaged 11.17, netting 10.07. That's taking the least amount of insurance the IRS will let you get away with under TEFRA and DEFRA tax citations, okay, and funding it as fast as the IRS allows under the TAMRA tax citation. When you do that, then you can accumulate your cash values to where, for most of my clients through the years, the cash value in the IUL policy grew to equal or exceed the death benefit within 12 to 15 years. This is what whole life agents don't understand. They go, well, whole life has guarantees in there so that the death benefit will stay in force for as long as you live. Well, if my cash value in an IUL policy grows to equal and then exceed the death benefit by the 12th year or the 15th year, if I started out with a death benefit of $1 million and my cash value grows to $1 million and then to $2 million, why do I need guarantees of a death benefit when my cash value exceeds the death benefit? Because now there is no cost for the insurance except a minuscule portion that keeps, if you happen to die, the payout 5% greater than the cash value. It is the best way to buy term and invest the difference. And it blows the normal buy term invest the difference out of the water. You can't believe how many agents don't know how to do what I just said. And so the whole purpose of this is knowing how to do it correctly so that you have a better chance of earning an average return in that 10-11% range, but netting within 1% of the gross rate of return retroactive back to day one. It also will help you understand how to be able to access that money totally tax-free and become your own banker. So if you're interested in making sure that an IUL policy is structured correctly and funded properly, I would strongly recommend that you reach out to us. Go to IULinsiders.com or 3dimensionalwealth.com, and we can point you to an advisor that has actually gone through and passed a proficiency exam. And if they've done that, they know what they're doing. If not, you may become one of those sad stories that I hear all the time. Mr. Andrew, our IUL policy, we put in $500,000, and you say that in the last 7.5 years, it would have doubled to $1 million. Our $500,000 is only worth $750,000, half that. What's wrong? And I take about 30 seconds and look at it, and I go, oh my heavens, who designed this for you? Oh, our nephew, my brother-in-law, he had an insurance license. Wow, was that an expensive family relationship? And so now they have to start over, and we have to correct and make sure it's structured correctly. Don't make those mistakes. Seek out an IUL professional that is certified, that is proven by passing a proficiency exam. If you do that, you will not regret it. So if you're a professional watching this episode right now, You need to connect with IUL Insiders. Go to IULinsiders.com and register for an educational webinar. Join our organization, get certified so that you can learn how to do it correctly and do the best job for your clients. That's my goal. I want IUL to be a household word. I want people to be able to understand that if it's done correctly, it knocks the socks off of traditional accounts like IRAs and 401ks.